Hi guys, today I am going to discuss a very useful important topic in SAP PI, that is how to use extended receiver determination in SAP PI. So what is extended receiver determination? Extended or dynamic receiver determination is a method of determining message receivers at interface runtime by evaluating the content of the sender message by using complex logic. So by the definition, you'll get to know that whenever there is a complex logic to be put in place to determine the receiver, you need to go for extended receiver determination. How is it different from standard receiver determination? Well, standard receiver determination allows you to find the receiver based on X path of the sender message, whereas extended receiver determination gives you the flexibility to go beyond and write complex logic to determine the specific receiver. So whenever you are going for a complex logic instead of X path based receiver determination, you need to use extended receiver determination. It gives you a very huge flexibility to write any complex logic that you want to and you want to have in place to determine the receiver. You can do that using extended receiver determination. When do we need it? So as I said in the previous slide, that whenever your receiver determination has to be based on a complex logic, you need to go for extended receiver determination. About the implementation, we have few objects which is required to be put in place while implementing this method and using it in your ICO. There are four objects here. Two of them, the message type and service type, they are shipped with the SAP API package. So message type receivers, this message type you get along with the PI installation, and it comes under the software component SAP basis. Under SAP basis, according to your version, you will have a software component version which will say that it's SAP basis 7.3, 7.4 or 7.5. Under that software component version, under the namespace of https sap.com/xi system, you'll find receiver message types. The second is service interface, receiver determination. So the service interface name itself is receiver determination. You'll find this service interface in the exact same location as that of the message type. The last two objects are message mapping and operation mapping. So in message mapping, here is the part where you write the actual logic, and instead of message mapping you can also use Java mapping if you wish to. And if the demand is so that you have to go for you have to go even further to implement a more complex logic to determine the receiver, you can go for Java mapping. Encapsulating that Java mapping or message mapping, you will have the operation mapping, and this operation mapping will be used in the ICO to determine, which will actually determine your receiver. So these are the four objects which you are going to use, and after you have created this object in your ESR, then you can use it in your ICO. So I'll show you step by step that how message processes from sender system to receiver system. What happens that you have a sender system, that is BC file sender, then you have the communication channel, and then that message enters into the PA system. When it goes to PA system, it goes to operation mapping, which will do the receiver determination for you. Once the receiver is determined, it will be written in the message header. So let's say there are two receivers which you have. One is BC file sender, the other is BC extended file receiver. So first is BC file receiver, the other is BC extended file receiver. Once that is determined, it is written into the message header. So the receiver message header will be populated with any of these two values which you are seeing on your screen. Then message goes to the actual operation mapping where the data transformation happens and where you get the target payload structure created. So this operation mapping, in our scenario, we are not going to use this. We will make it a pass-through scenario, but we are going to implement this operation mapping. So once this happens, the message directly goes to the receiver channel. So now I'll go into the PI system and I'll show you that how it is actually implemented. So now I am in my PI system, and this is what I want to show you. This is the ESR, and as I said that under the software component SAP basis, you'll have a software component version SAP basis. This can be 7.4 or 7.5. Mine is 7.5. Inside that, under the namespace http sap.com/xi/systems, you will get the service interface called receiver determination and message types called receivers. So this is the message type receiver. You can see the structure of the message here. So you have party, agency, scheme, service. So service is the mandatory field, and rest none of them are mandatory. If you go to the receiver determination service interface, you'll find that it's an abstract interface, and the interface pattern is stateless. So these are the predefined objects which get shipped with the PI installation. Moving forward, what I have done that under this name space https piintegration.com, I have created a folder called extended receiver determination, where I have created a data type that is DT extended receiver. So I'm doing it because I'm going through the message mapping way of implementing the extended receiver determination. But when you have Java mapping, you can have a pass-through scenario. So that's why in my slide I did not mention these two objects, that is the data type and the message type. For this data type, I have also created a message type which is going to encapsulate this data type, and here you have the message mapping. So in my case, what I'm trying to do, that I'm comparing the date. So in the source payload, if I have a date which is previous than today's date, then I'm going to get the BC file receiver as my receiver receiver system. And if it is false, means if the date which is coming in the source payload is not previous than yesterday's date or today's date, then it will give me a receiver named as BC extended file receiver. Okay, so hope that is clear here. And then I'll go to the operation mapping. What I'm doing that I'm encapsulating the message mapping, and I'm mapping this interface, which is a dummy interface, and this interface, receiver determination interface, which you will find in the SAP basis software component under the namespace http sap.com/xi/xi systems. So this is where you are mapping these two service interfaces, and the inbuilt service interface will be required here. So I have my mapping logic written here. Everything is in place. Now I'll go to the ID object and I'll show you that what is the ICO configuration which I have done. So yeah, so in my previous videos, you can go and check my file to file scenario video, where I have shown each and every step that how to create these objects and how to configure the ICO, also how to configure the ESR object. So I'm not going to do the same thing again. If you want, you can go back to that video and check it yourself. What I'm going to show you that what changes I have done in my ICO to implement the extended receiver determination. So if you go to receiver tab, usually in type of receiver determination you get standard by default, but I have used extended here. And if you can see, I have used this operation mapping OM extended receiver with namespace as http piintegration.com. And in the possible receiver, what I have done, that I have used these two receiver which I had shown, which I had actually given as the output of the message mapping. So if I can show you, these were my receivers, and the same receiver I have put in here in the ICO. Well, so this is all about the development. Now what I'm going to do is to show you how to test it in the real time. So I'll go to the source, I'll go to PI system, I'll go to test tab, and I'll try to send a test message. So I've already selected that ICO where I've configured this extended receiver determination, and I have changed the quality of service as exactly once, and now I am going to give the payload, and I'm going to give a date here. So let's say today's date is 23rd of July. So 2020 07, I'll give date as 19th of July, and I'll send this message. When I go to this message, I check the log. It is saying that there is some problem in the routing. I'll go back. Okay. So what I had done, that I misspelled date, so I've corrected it now. Let's see what happens. Let's see, 2020 07/19 date and date. So what I did, that I had put one slash here, and that is why my message was throwing error. So now I've corrected it. Now I'll send a test message. I'll go to testing. I'll send test message. I'll search for my ICO, BC file sender, and select the quality of service, and I'll go copy paste the payload. I'll give the date as 2020 07/19. Send the message. If I check here, this is delivered. So let's go to the message log and see. what have you got here? So first observation is, if you check the sender component, that is file sender, BC file sender, and the receiver component is BC file receiver. Also, if you check the message log, it will say that it is delivering to channel this. So the delivering channel is CC file sender NFS FTP. So while configuring the ICO for both the receiver interface, for both the receivers in the outbound processing, I have used two different channels. Okay, so for file receiver I have used CC file sender NFS FTP receive, and for extended file receiver I have used CC file sender NFS extended FTP. So this time the receiver is file receiver, that is why this channel is getting logged in the message log. Okay, let's go here and change the date. So let's say I'll make it a date which is 23rd. So if you can see it, today is 23rd and I'm using the date as 23rd of July 2020. If I send the message, now the receiver component has changed. So this was our expectation, and our expectation has been met, and we are getting the extended file receiver in the receiver component. Similarly, if you check the message log, you are going to get the different receiver channel here. So it says delivering to channel CC file sender NFS extended FTP receive. So this is how you do the extended, how you use the extended receiver determination. It's a very powerful technique, and if you really know the concept, it will be very easy for you to implement all these logic. So that is it for this video. One more thing which I like to share with you is that weekly I upload one video, and if you want me to specifically upload a video on some topic which is related to PI, you can definitely suggest me on my channel page or in the comment section. You can search for Integration Hub, which is my channel, and you can definitely hit the like button if you think that the content is up to the mark and you like it, and your feedback is always welcome. So thank you and wish you all the best.